Welcome to the next video on parts of speech. This one is dedicated to prepositions. Prepositions are words basically that show relationship. And we'll take a look at the textbook definition. Oftentimes it can be rather confusing to students at first. So we're going to take a look at some graphics to hopefully help you make sense of the definition. The definition is that a preposition is a word that shows the relationship of a noun or pronoun to some other element in the sentence. So it's a relationship, okay? It shows a relationship from a noun or pronoun to some other element in the sentence. And we'll talk about what we mean by element in a second. Let's take a look at the apple picture here to help you visualize this. Let's imagine that our caterpillar here is the noun that we're talking about in the definition, okay? Prepositions are words that show the relationship of a noun. In this case, the noun is the caterpillar, okay? To some other element in the sentence. In this case, the element is the apple, all right? So we can say that a caterpillar is above an apple. What it's doing is showing us the relationship of the apple to the caterpillar. If we take a look at the caterpillar is on the apple, it's still showing us the relationship of the apple to the caterpillar. We can do that for all of these. Maybe the caterpillar is eating through the apple, or it's inside the apple. Maybe it's crawling up the apple, or it's crawling down the apple. In all of these cases, we're just understanding the relationship of the apple to the caterpillar, okay? And that's what we mean by relationship, okay? Now, take a look at each of these individual examples. There's an underlined word in front of apple. Above, on, through, inside, up, within, beside, down, below. They are all relationship words. Those relationship words are prepositions. And the English language is filled with them, okay? They just give us an understanding of the relationship between an object and some other element in the sentence. In this case, the apple and the caterpillar, okay? The relationship in space that the caterpillar is to the apple, all right? Now, what you'll probably notice when you look at all of these examples is that the preposition is always followed, and I'm going to use prep for short, by a noun. That noun is called the object of the preposition. So, in above the apple, apple is the object of the preposition above. What prepositions will always do is they will always be followed by objects. We say that they take objects, and together they form what are called prepositional phrases. So a prepositional phrase is nothing more than a preposition plus the noun that follows it. It's the object, we say, of the preposition. So if you take a look at this graphic that is right in front of us with the frog, prepositions are always in prepositional phrases. They are the start of the prepositional phrase. The end of the prepositional phrase is the object that follows. the preposition. So we can look at all of these examples in that graphic. At home, during the movie, from your imagination, inside the cave, and over the river. Hopefully you realize that the red words, at, during, from, inside, over, they're those relationship words. They're showing us the relationship in space or time in some way, just like the relationship words of the caterpillar and the apple. Okay? Hopefully you can see the objects of each of those prepositional phrases in white. So let's just go through some of them. At home, the object of the preposition at is home. Okay? During the movie, movie is the object of the preposition during. From your imagination, imagination is the object of the preposition from. Cave is the object of the preposition inside. River is the object of the preposition over. Hopefully you're understanding that. Okay? Now these prepositional phrases are interesting because they modify or show some kind of relationship to, remember, to use the definition, some other element in the sentence. They modify or describe sometimes nouns in sentences and sometimes verbs in sentences. And therefore, prepositional phrases are really versatile. If you remember what we said in previous videos about modifiers, we said there are two kinds of modifiers in the English language, right? There are modifiers that are adjectives, and remember, they will modify nouns or pronouns. And then there's modifiers that are adverbs, and they can modify verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. Prepositional phrases, so the preposition and the object that follows it, remember, they can actually do both. All right? We're going to take a look at what we mean with a few sample sentences. Okay? Let's take a look at number 1. She swam across the river. The bolded word is a relationship word. It's a preposition. And hopefully you can look at it and understand, like all prepositions, it's going to be followed by a what? Hopefully you remember an object. In this case, across the lake is the prepositional phrase. Lake being the object of the preposition across. Now, when we say it's showing us a relationship to some other element, the element it's showing us a relationship to in this sentence is in front of it, and we figure out what it's modifying by asking ourselves the question, what does it answer in the sentence? So, across the lake answers the question, what about she swam? Hopefully you're realizing it answers the question where she swam. She swam across the lake. So across the lake is modifying swam. And swam's a verb, right? It's an action. So that means that across the lake is acting in this sentence like an adverb because it's answering the question where she swam. Okay? Let's take a look at question 2, or sentence 2. The cupcake with sprinkles is mine. Well, hopefully you realize that the bolded word with is a preposition. It's a relationship word. Okay? Where's its object? Remember, it will always be the noun that follows that preposition. Hopefully you're realizing it's sprinkles. So with sprinkles is our prepositional phrase. Now, in this case, just like with the first example, we need to ask ourselves, what is it modifying in the sentence? What part of the sentence is it showing relationship to? What other element? Okay? It's showing us the relationship of sprinkles to what? Hopefully you realize that with sprinkles answers the question, which cupcake? Which one? The one with sprinkles. And therefore, it's modifying or describing cupcake. And cupcake, unlike swam, which was a verb, cupcake is a noun. So with sprinkles, the prepositional phrase is acting like an adjective. Let's take a look at the third example. In the third example, oops, that was 2. In the third example, the cake with nuts fell onto the floor. We've got 2 different prepositional phrases. With, just like in the second sentence, is a preposition. It takes an object, like it always will. It's the object after with. In this case, it's nuts. And we have onto, another preposition. It will also take an object. The object after onto, hopefully you're seeing the noun, is floor. So onto the floor is another prepositional phrase. So we've got 2 prepositional phrases in this sentence. And what I'm wondering is, how do each of them act? To find the answer to that question, we ask ourselves, what does with nuts answer in the sentence? What question does it answer? It answers, just like in number 2, which cake? Which one? Which cake are we talking about? The one with nuts, not the one with sprinkles, not the one with, vanilla icing or chocolate icing, the one with nuts. That's which one. So, again, with nuts, because it's modifying or describing, cake is acting like an adjective, because cake is a noun. But in the other example, onto the floor answers what question? Hopefully you're realizing it answers how, or excuse me, where it fell. It fell onto the floor, not fell on the table or fell in the refrigerator or off the counter. It fell onto the floor. So because it's answering a question about the verb fell, onto the floor is acting like an adverb. Okay? So remember, prepositional phrases can act like adjectives or adverbs in a sentence depending on what question they answer. And prepositions in their simplest form are going to show the relationship of a noun or pronoun, and now we know we call that noun or pronoun the object of the preposition, to some other element in the sentence. That other element could be a noun, or it could be a verb. Okay? And in your 3 sentences, we saw examples of them. All right? Now, truth be told, there are a ton of prepositions in the English language. So you can find online, if you just search examples of prepositions, you can find huge lists of them. For the purpose of this video, we're not going to go over every preposition. But as long as you can read a sentence and understand that a preposition is a relationship word, it's going to show us the relationship in space or time of one object to some other element in the sentence, you should be able to spot them in action. Okay? Thank you for watching this video, and if you need more help, please go to the link on the learning module to Grammar Revolution, and be sure to check out the next video on the next part of speech.